Hi and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about 5-step process for writing a successful LLM personal statement. I did my LLM at Harvard Law School, and when I just started out working on my applications, I wasted so much time because my process was inefficient. I would stare at a blank screen for hours and I wouldn't know what to write. And when I did write something, it just felt so superficial and it did not reflect what I wanted to say at all. I came up with a 5-step process that really helped me. It is also how I work with people on their LLM essays. This process consists of 5 steps. First is ideation or idea generation. Second is choosing ideas, stories, and experiences. Third is outlining and ordering stories. Fourth is writing the first draft. Fifth step is editing. I'm going to walk you through each step one by one. I'm going to walk you through each step now. I'm going to walk you through each. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through each step. Let's dive in. Step number 1 is idea generation. In this step, you mine your background for ideas, for stories and experiences, and you collect everything you can. A principle I apply to the process of ideation is that no ideas should be discarded and no ideas should be judged. That's going to stifle your creative process. You need to generate a lot of ideas, including bad ideas, before you can generate really good ones and feel confident about your choices. And so for idea generation, ask yourself, what are your proudest achievements? What obstacles have you overcome in your life? What is your educational experience? What is your professional experience? What are the things and people and places and concepts that influenced you in your life? What are you made of? What are the most important moments in your life? The moments that when you think about them, you think, that really changed me. That made me into who I am. To answer these questions, just write things down and write everything that comes to mind. Write facts, experiences, stories, names, locations, everything. The goal is to collect as many ideas as possible. Now comes step number 2. And step number 2 is look for patterns and actually choose your stories. In step number 2, you look through the material that you've collected in step number 1, and you look for patterns, and you see what keeps coming up, what is really important for you, what connects with what, and what's relevant for your application. Highlight those stories and highlight stories that are relevant for your application. And in this step, you get to finally choose and select your stories. It's very important that you don't do this right away, that you first allow yourself to generate a lot of ideas, because this is the only way to be truly confident in your choices. A lot of people assume that they know their background so well, they don't need to go through step 1, and they immediately skip to step 2. But the thing is, it's very hard and difficult to evaluate your own experience, and separating those steps can actually help you choose what is the strongest and what's going to help you succeed in your applications. Now comes step number 3. And step number 3 is about outlining or planning your essay. You don't need to overcomplicate it. All you need to do here is to arrange your stories in a particular order. A lot of people skip this step and try to start writing a coherent text from scratch. My experience tells me that if you outline an essay, it's going to make the process just significantly less painful. To help you outline, ask a few questions about the stories and experiences and facts that you've uncovered in the first 2 steps. What needs to come first? What experiences belong in the beginning? What stories and experiences do you need to tell to set up the stories that come next? Those questions will help you arrange experiences and establish the progression of the essay. At this point, you are not writing yet, you are just outlining. Now, step number 4. That's where you start writing. Why only in step 4? The thing is, in my experience, if you have done the previous 3 steps, if you've done the ideation, thought very carefully about what stories to choose, and outlined your essay, writing a first draft should come significantly easier. Because what you will need to do here is you need to take your outline and expand each sentence into a paragraph and develop it. And that's step number 4. That's it. That's all you need to do. Write your first draft. You don't need to write a perfect draft. You don't need to write your final draft. You just need to write your first draft. That's going to provide you with psychological safety. You will feel that, well, you already have something to work with, and you're not going to feel the fear of a blank screen. And now comes step number 5. Step number 5 is editing. And here is where you get from the first draft to your final draft. It's very important that you actually separate those stages. Because if you don't, if in step 4, instead of focusing on your first draft, you focus on polishing and editing, it's going to stifle your creative progress. So that's why step 5 is just for editing, and that's where the actual work happens. 90% of writing is actually editing. That applies even to the situations where you use AI to help you, because you still need to do the intellectual work. Usually, it takes 3 to 5 drafts, the minimum, to get to where you have an essay that you can submit. It's going to vary dramatically depending on your background, your native language, your exposure to this particular type of writing, and so on. Just to give you an example, there is an American writer. Her name is Amy Bloom. I took an online course from Wellesley University where she teaches creative writing. And she says that for each of her drafts, she goes through 30 rounds of editing. 30 rounds. And she writes in her native language. She is not writing in a language that she learned. She is a native speaker, and she needs to go through 30 drafts. If your first draft doesn't look like what you wanted to, or the second draft or the third draft doesn't look like what you wanted to look, just keep in mind that there is a lot of editing involved. Creative work is hard, and application writing is creative work. So this is my 5-step writing process. I hope it helps you, and I wish you best of luck.